What's going on, everybody? It is a 2-game Monday night slate, which I have heard is twice as good as a normal Monday night slate. Look, if I'm being honest, I love a good 2 or 3 game slate. My favorite thing about Thanksgiving, other than being a fat ass and eating too much, is that it's a 3-game slate. So when I can get a 2-game Monday night slate over a solo Monday night slate, I'm in. So let's enjoy it. Let's have some fun. And I think there's a lot of ways to get really, really different tonight and play the game if you don't mind being an icky contrarian bastard. What's up, new guy? I'm Degenerate75. I am a DFS content creator who is here to help you get a little bit better at playing DFS, have some fun with it, make it be sustainable, and if you do it just right, maybe hit a big one every now and then, okay? I'm not here with picks. I'm not here with plays. I don't have any of that core bullshit. So if that's what you want, this probably ain't going to be the show for you. But I think there's about 1,000 other shows on today that do all that stupid fucking nonsense. Go check them out. I'm sure they'll appreciate you. If you do like me, I encourage you to hang around for the next 30 minutes. Throw a question over here in the chat. We will be doing some giveaways, and if you really like the cut of my jib, come check out that schedule. Every Monday and Thursday, I do this show live at noon for the Monday night and Thursday night football game. I, of course, have my NFL show Saturday night, 7 o'clock, Lord's time zone. And yes, I do PGA and college football. But now you can see every Tuesday, me and Tambo, my boy Tambo, do a week preview. We're going to alternate channels. This week it's on my channel. So tomorrow at noon, just like right now, how you're sitting there not doing shit at work, do this exact same thing tomorrow. Me and Tambo will do a first look at the week 3 slate. We will be there, my brother from Ship It Nation, with all of the insights and opinions that you could ever want and some talking some shit, because that's what we do. At least on my station, we're going to talk shit. I will warn you. Tambo's a lot nicer than me. That is what some people say. All right, for every 50 likes we get over here, I will be doing a drawing to play in the Millionaire Maker with me tonight. We will build the lineup together, and I will split the profits with you 50-50. I see we're already basically to 50 likes. We already got one giveaway in the bag. Let's see if we can get to 2 or 3 of them, okay? First things first, let's start with contest selection. I'm telling you, NFL donkey dicks have no idea how good you have it. FanDuel, they're fucking that. Talk about a dying DFS site. DraftKings takes care of us whenever we have NFL. There's just no other way around it, right? I wish that it was like this for all the sports, but it's not. All right, but NFL it is. No matter what you want to play tonight, DraftKings has a contest that's going to probably be a really good structure. So many of you, the first thing you're doing is you're blowing money on these contest selections. So what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself, like, what is my goal tonight, right? Like, do you want to spray a bunch of lineups? Because if you do, then you can get in some $1.20 maxes, some $3.20 maxes. Hell, maybe even the MME, the mass multi-entry 50-cent or 25-cent jukebox, right? There's those. But maybe you have a really hot take on how, you make a lineup and you think this is how it's going to play out. Maybe instead of going and spraying $100 across a bunch of entries, you just go play in the $100 single entry or the $50 single entry or the $15 single entry or the $12. They have all kinds of great payout structures. But what I'm telling you is don't always select your contest and then make your player pool. Make your player pool, make your narratives, then select your contest. Because depending on how many guys are in that player pool, you may not have enough dudes in your player pool to build 20 different lineups. And if that's the case, you don't want to add guys to your player pool simply just to add more guys to your player pool. So what you need to do is go find your narratives, go make your player pool for tonight, and then ask yourself, how many lineups do I need to get a good variety of these guys? If you have 20 guys in your player pool, you're probably going to need to make like 20 to 50 lineups. But if you find yourself with only like 10 to 12 guys in your player pool that you really want to get access to tonight, you probably get away with playing some single entry and some 3 maxes. And that is a great way to start right there by getting high exposure to all the guys you like and not worrying about the guys you don't and letting your player pool dictate your contest selection and not the other way around, which is how I would say about 99% of people do it. As always, you can always check out double up and cash games. On these smaller slates, I actually think that double ups and cash game, by the way, when I say cash game, that's 50-50s, that's double ups, that's head-to-heads. I think it's more viable on these slates because the obvious plays become more obvious, right? Like Nick Chubb, Chris Olave, guys like that become very, very obvious, and basically you're just hoping other people mess up and don't play the obvious plays. And if you can get enough people to do that, you can get there. So check those out. And of course, there's always some really good satellites going on. You can see they have a lot of Fantasy Golf World Championship tickets, but damn, those aren't cheap. All right. I will warn you, satellites and qualifiers, the lock is a little later tonight. So if there's ever a chance at an overlay, because there's a 2-game slate, so the game is going off an hour earlier tonight, right? It's at 6:15 Lord's time zone as opposed to 7:15 Lord's time zone, which is what we normally get from Monday Night Football. And because of that, a lot of people are going to be like, oh shit, man, I just got home from work. I missed it. So with that in mind, be looking for overlays tonight, especially in different formats like tiers and stuff like that, right? The captain mode, Showdown captain mode for the first game, always be looking for overlays because with the lock an hour earlier, there is a chance at overlays, especially in the different formats like tiers, captain mode, and satellites. Okay, there you go. As far as the weather goes tonight, there is some chances of showers there in Pittsburgh, but last I saw, it looks like it's less than 10%. So I'm not too worried about the weather in Pittsburgh. It's going to be perfect down there in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. So I think both of the games are going to have good scoring conditions as far as the weather goes. The only bad scoring conditions are going to be all four of these teams fucking suck at offense. There's that. That is going to be the main part, okay? So let's get over and talk about the stone, talk about the plays. But before we do, don't forget all of my projections, right? If you don't know by now, I am a sweaty tryhard. And I make all my point projections, all my ownership projections for NFL, college football, and PGA. I do it for all the main slates, all the showdown slates, and they're all loaded right here on the best optimizer out there, the Solver. If you are building more than 10 lineups a week and you are not using an optimizer, just tell me you hate yourself. Just tell me you hate yourself. Because first of all, you're not building your lineups optimally. And second of all, you're burning a lot of time hand building all those, right? So I encourage you to check this out. And you're thinking, man, I can't afford them optimizers. Look, $24.99 a month. That gets you not only the optimizer, but all my projections loaded in there. Or if you want all the sports, you can get it for as cheap as $39.99 a month. Highly encourage you to check it out. A lot of people, I mean, I'm telling you, you don't realize what you're missing. You don't know what you don't know. And not having an optimizer, if you were building, if you're playing at $100 a week or, more, I don't know how you live without an optimizer. All right, let's go to the Rosetta Stone. Yes, this is the nerfed out Rosetta Stone. I'm not going to give you my fancy colored up one, okay? Your pores, you're the YouTube pores, all right? And all of you showing up late, you're the slows, all right? If you want the fancy one that looks like this, well, come on over to my site. But we'll talk about that more in a little bit, okay? Let's see. Getting over here, the Rosetta Stone. Here it is, going over the slate tonight. Both of these games have relatively low totals. You can see we got a 40-point total and we have a 39-point total. So I would not, the Vegas doesn't think these are going to be offensive shootouts, okay? And so whenever we have games with lower scoring totals, and by the way, we're going to be talking about the two-game slate. We're not talking about the individual ones, but I think that you could take a lot of the stuff I'm going to say here and apply it to the individual games. But I personally will be playing the two-game slate tonight, as that will be where most of the good contests are, all right? So just wanted to preface that. When it comes to New Orleans and Carolina, whenever you have a lower total, everybody tends to lean on running backs. And I think you are going to see all the running backs highly owned tonight. I think Jamal Williams, I think Miles Sanders, Nick Chubb's going to be over the moon owned tonight, and even Najee Harris, right? All of these running backs are going to be high owned tonight because when you have a lower total, people tend to err on the side of running backs over quarterback and wide receivers. So, of course, we're going to have to play at least two of them. And if you want to play one in the flex, we're going to have to play at least three of them, right? So what you want to do is you want to ask yourself, how are these games going to play out? Is there a way that these games could play out that would be a little bit different, right? Is there a chance that New Orleans and Carolina shoots out? And if you can, right there, you already see a way to get different. You have 9 people in your lineup. Maybe you dedicate 6 or 7 of those spots to the game that, quote unquote, is going to shoot out more, this New Orleans-Carolina game. Or if you think it's the Cleveland-Pittsburgh game. I think both of them have sneaky, could be higher than people expect totals, right? But the key is you're still playing your narrative, right? But you're playing your narrative over 2 games as opposed to 1. Another thing I want to warn you about before we get into all of the injuries and the updates is this. It is going to be very obvious that everybody is going to play Nick Chubb tonight. Everybody is going to play Chris Olave. The pricing is more than baby shit soft. And then when you factor in that we have guys like Deontay Johnson out, and I think Amari Cooper is likely to be out, literally, you can build any lineup you want and have almost no price constraints. So I think tonight is a very, very reasonable night to leave upwards of $1,000 on the table, which at main slate I would tell you to never do. But tonight, you got to be aware of that. And if you know that you just know in your heart that Nick Chubb's going to break the slate, well, then you play Nick Chubb, right? You got to have the guy who's going to break the slate, right? But then you start asking yourself questions like, all right, if I'm going to play Olave or I'm going to play Chubb, how can I play them in a way that nobody else is going to play them? And the way to do this is, A, you can leave some money on the table. That's the most obvious one, but that, maybe there's other ways, right? Maybe you play Nick Chubb, but you play him with Jerome Ford, because a lot of people that play Nick Chubb are not going to double stack him with another running back. And don't play like Cleveland can never get 2 running backs there. Need I remind you of the days of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt? All right. Or maybe this is another move that I never hardly tell people to do, but maybe it's a double tight end night, right? Maybe you make your flex a tight end tonight because the tight ends on this slate I think are really good. Jawan Johnson, Hayden Hurst, Njoku, and Pat Freiermuth I think are all legit tight ends that could get there in the flex and of course at the tight end position. So be thinking to yourself, am I okay leaving money on the table? Am I okay doubling up at running backs from the same team? Am I okay running a tight end in the super flex? Am I okay? Whatever. You got to come up with something that you're doing that is making when you play Nick Chubb different than how everybody else is playing Nick Chubb, okay? Don't build your lineups the exact same way as everybody else. Or maybe the answer is everybody's going to play Jamal Williams tonight. I think he's going to be well over 50% owned. So maybe the answer is you just go play the Saints passing game and just hope Jamal Williams is wildly inefficient again, right? So that more tonight more than anything with basically every player being affordable and every lineup, right? I think that the best thing you can do is ask yourself, how can I play these guys different than everybody else is playing them? Because what you don't want to do is be in a 1v1 versus hundreds or thousands of people. Build your roster different, especially if that fits a narrative that you like, okay? All right, let's get to these. Let's get to the news and talk about how it's going to impact everything. Derek Carr, it was really good in week 1 for New Orleans. He seems like he has 3 top options. Olave, Shaheed, and Michael Thomas are definitively his top 3 targets. Jawan Johnson did not. He got 5 targets, which wasn't bad, but you always got to worry about Taysom Hill coming in and plucking plays from Derek Carr, especially down on the goal line. We didn't see much of that week 1. Taysom Hill was basically just a backup tight end, which is what he has always been. But I think you'd be a fool not to be aware of that. At running back, Kendre Miller does appear as though he's going to be back. We have the status watch on him tonight. We'll have to watch. But it does seem as though he is trending towards playing. He is the rookie out of TCU. And if he plays, you have to imagine they're going to give him probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 10 touches. And those will directly be pilfered from Jamal Williams. If Kendre Miller plays, I would not expect Jamal Williams to get 20-plus touches. Again, unless they are in a favorable game script, which means they are playing from ahead and just smashing him into the line every play, right? So be aware of that. At the same time, I also don't think Kendre Miller is going to get enough touches to be a viable play tonight at $4,400. However, the one thing I can say about Kendre Miller is this, is in college, the guy hardly ever got touches, and he still always got there because that guy is a home run waiting to happen all the time. Chris Olave is certainly the best wide receiver play on the slate. He has a super high floor, a super high ceiling, and to be honest, on this slate, he should be 10,500, and he's 7,200. So he's almost like a free square. So maybe you ask yourself, how can I build a lineup, or how can a lineup win this contest without Chris Olave getting there? And the answer to that's not particularly easy, right? So I don't know what the answer to that is, but I will tell you this. Chris Olave is just like Nick Chubb. I think there is a very good chance he is in the optimals tonight. So maybe the answer isn't to fade him, but the question is, how can I play him and not play him in the exact same way everybody else is, right? Maybe you go all in on a New Orleans stack, because I don't think anybody's going to go Derek Carr, Olave, Rashid, right? No one is going to run that stack. So maybe that's a way. Well, I say no one. It is going to be a lot lower owned stack because it's a 4-game slate. Everybody's going to be owned, but it's going to be a much lower owned stack than I think you'll see from some of these other ones, right? At tight end, Jawan Johnson, I think he is due for a breakout game. He probably, in my opinion, has the highest upside of any of these tight ends, but he also probably has the lowest floor of any of these tight ends. If he gets 1 catch for 13 yards, or if he gets 7 catches for 65 yards and 2 touchdowns, neither of those would shock me, okay? So be aware of that. Taysom Hill, I wouldn't be worried about him pilfering Jawan Johnson's work. I'd be more worried about him pilfering Derek Carr's work, as he may get a goal line package. The Saints defense is always interesting. I always love defenses against rookie quarterbacks, and last time I checked, Bryce Young is a rookie, which, by the way, Bama's missing that motherfather right now. So that is something to consider. $3,700, you're going to have all the money you want in the world at cash tonight, in your lineups tonight. So if you want to play the Saints defense, I don't think you're going to struggle with that. Let me get a quick swig of the cold brew. Moving on to Carolina, Bryce Young, he's Bryce Young. He's exactly what we thought. He does not suck balls, but he's also not great, okay? He's basically a game manager at this point of his career. At $5,600, once again, you would say, oh, but he's so cheap, but it doesn't matter on this slate, right? Literally the price tag of none of these guys matter, because you can play almost every expensive guy in every lineup, and you can build that lineup and have money left over. I think Miles Sanders is going to be pretty popular tonight. Carolina is definitely going to want to run the ball. We see Miles Sanders got 4 targets and 18 rushes in game 1. With his home run ability, you got to think that people are going to want to play that. I think the sneakier play could be Chuba Hubbard, who also got double-digit touches. And Miles Sanders, let's face it, the guy's a little fragile. There is a chance that Chuba Hubbard gets in there and steals a little bit of the work if Miles Sanders gets banged up, or maybe just some of the third down work. But to me, Carolina, the way to play Carolina tonight is try to figure out this fucking roulette of wide receivers they have, right? It appears as though DJ Chark is trending towards being out. You can see we have the status watch on him up there. And if he is out, the question becomes, well, who does that benefit? Well, first of all, I think Terrence Marshall Jr. is the number one receiver. You can see he was on the field the most plays last week, and he got the most targets. So I think he is their number one target regardless, right? But to me, Shark being out is really going to benefit Laviska Shenault and Jonathan Mingo. I think those are the two guys that benefit the most. And I think Jonathan Mingo is the guy that could emerge as the number one target for the Panthers. So if you want to try to figure out these Carolina Panthers, I think that getting one of these guys and nailing the right one, maybe if you play a chalky lineup, this is where you get different, because no one is going to want to own these guys because it's so damn hard to know who it's going to be, especially if you're willing to take a risk on Mingo or Shenault. That right there could be the pump piece that saves you some money. Not that you need to save money, but part of the reason that you could leave $1,500 on the table tonight, and they have the big time ability to go off and get you 20 points at maybe like 3 or 4% ownership, right? So be watching that Chark news and just know that one of these guys is going to benefit. Adam Thielen, he looks old and dusty to me, if you want to know the opinion, and I think people know that name more than they know everybody else, so he's probably just going to inherently get more ownership than he should. Moving over to the second game, Cleveland and Pittsburgh, every time these two teams play, everybody just assumed the game is going to be 13-7 and that Garrett Miles is going to crack somebody over the skull with their own helmet. That seems to be the two things that everybody assumes. And so Deshaun Watson, yes, he looked pretty good week one, right? Let me rephrase that. He actually didn't look that great as a quarterback, but he looked good as a fantasy option. He got a lot of scoring done. The designed run play for the touchdown was really nice. So he is going to, without question, be the highest owned quarterback on this slate. I bet he comes in the neighborhood of around 50%, and on a 4-quarterback slate, that is a very high ownership, right? So really what you need to do is, I think that Nick Chubb, Deshaun Watson, and Elijah Moore are all going to be super, super high owned. So maybe what you could do is you just kind of fade Cleveland. I don't think I would completely fade them, but maybe you just go get DPJ, right? Maybe you just, that's Donovan Peoples-Jones. Maybe you just go take a Jerome Ford and you fade the chalkiest team. Cleveland has the highest total on the slate and will be the highest owned team when you look at cumulative ownership. Now, is that a good move to fade him? I don't know. Pittsburgh can play good defense. Pittsburgh is at home, and I'm not convinced that Cleveland looked so great week one as Cincinnati just looked really bad. So we still don't know what Cleveland is yet, right? So consider that. But at the same time, you got to ask yourself, Chubb and Watson, I think, are going to be played together way too much tonight. And those are two guys that kind of, to me, do not pair very well together, right? Nick Chubb gets the most of his volume done on the ground, and Deshaun Watson gets a lot of his done on the ground. So if one of them rushes for 2 touchdowns, they're directly fucking the other one. You understand what I'm saying? So playing those two, playing just one of those two and not playing them together, right there will probably already have you different than 20 to 25% of all lineups in the main GPPs tonight. Amari Cooper does appear as though he is going to be out, which opens up a ton of value at the wide receiver spot. I think Elijah Moore is definitely the one that benefits the most from this. But the one that I think is going to benefit that people aren't going to think about is Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think that he could be a guy that will be on the field something like 60 to 65% of the time and could see upwards of 6 to 7 targets and will not be the obvious free square that Elijah Moore is going to be. So consider a guy like Donovan Peoples-Jones. If you're going to be playing Deshaun Watson as your quarterback tonight, consider a punt option like Marquise Goodwin. All it takes is that guy to get one catch for 60 yards and a touchdown, and he has gotten there, and he has helped to get Deshaun Watson there. So if we get word that that our boy Amari Cooper is out, which it appears as though he is trending towards being out, I think that this opens up some cheap wide receiver options for Cleveland, and a lot like we have with the Panthers trying to hit that roulette at their spot could be the play. Up to 100 likes. We're already doing 2 giveaways. Let's see if we can get up to 150 over there, you motherfathers. At tight end, I think that David Njoku is just another one of these awesome tight ends on the slate. I don't know which way to go with these tight ends, but this is why I'm telling you, I think that a tight end in the flex tonight is viable because I think these tight ends are just as good as any of the wide receivers that we are seeing for a lot of these teams tonight. Of course, the Browns defense going against Kenny Pickett seems very, very appetizing and I think is going to be very popular. But I will tell you, maybe consider the Steelers defense as an alternative, as I bet they will only be about half the ownership as Cleveland, and they're playing at home, and home defenses tend to score more than road defenses, so keep that in mind. Lastly, I think people are really selling on the Steelers. They're overreacting to the Steelers having to play a very badass San Francisco 49ers in week 1. And I think that that you can take advantage of this overreaction. I am still a long-term buy in Kenny Pickett. Yes, it sucks that Deontay Johnson is out, who was like his warm Care Bear blanket, and that's not ideal. But what that does is that opens up even more value. The value at wide receiver tonight is insane. So if you want to run Kenny Pickett, I am not afraid to go stack him with Pickens, Robinson, and I think Calvin Austin is the guy that probably benefits the most from Deontay Johnson being out. He's going to be on the field more. You can see he got 6 targets last week, and I think that if Cleveland is blitzing the shit out of Pickett, I think Calvin Austin is the one that will get these small, short targets out of the slot more than the other guys will. On that same note, I think Pat Freiermuth could also be that new Care Bear blanket for Kenny Pickett, and if he got 6 or 7 targets tonight, it would not shock me. So a Kenny Pickett stack will probably be the lowest owned stack on this slate. So if you don't want to overreact to what you saw in week 1, or you're not buying that Cleveland's defense is as dominant as you think, I think Kenny Pickett stacks are the way to go tonight. And if you really want to get weird with it, maybe even mix in Jaylen Warren, who got a sneaky amount of the work in week 1, right? This is no longer the Najee Harris plays 90% of the snaps Steelers of the past. This is now Najee Harris plays a hair over 50%, and Jaylen Warren's getting a lot of the third down work. So I think Jaylen Warren actually stacks quite nicely with Kenny Pickett, right? So a Steelers stack could be the one. Another thing to consider is you could always be running a Cleveland stack and then go play some pieces from this early game. Depending on how the early game plays out, you could switch your Deshaun Watson stack, which is going to be very chalky, over to a Kenny Pickett stack, and now you can be a lot different, right? If things go well for you in the early game, well, then keep your chalky Deshaun Watson stack. If they don't go well, or you feel like some people have you boxed out, well, then go switch to a Kenny Pickett stack. That is playing the game. We never get this on Mondays where we get these 2-game slates, so when we do, you should take advantage of it and play the late swap game. You got it? Good. That is a breakdown. Deontay Johnson, Amari Cooper, DJ Chark, all likely being out is just completely opening up too much value on a slate where everybody is already underpriced. I'm telling you, there's a lot of ways to play the game tonight. Do not be afraid to be different, and of course, be keeping your late swap open, all right? Let's get to the drawing. But by the way, before we do, go check out DJN75.com, the fastest growing community in all of PGA, DFS, NFL DFS, and college football DFS, because I do all 3 of them. We are built around the community. We're built around customer service. We value you, and we want you to have the best projections, the best tools out there, and oh yeah, you don't have to be fucking price gouged to do it. If that sounds interesting, well, let me just tell you, we got this little thing called the Rosetta Stone. You've already saw all my projections I load into there. We have an active Discord where I am there to answer all your questions. We will take care of you, get everything you need. If you're an old and you're like, I can't figure out that technology, don't worry, I got the editor. He's a young little whippersnapper that'll help your ass out. And if you're like, man, all that sounds cool, but I'd like to try it out first before I commit to it. All right, go sign up for my football newsletter. It's in the description of this video. You sign up for that. You send a DM to the editor at the at the DGen editor on Twitter, and he will get you a free week on the website. The reason we do that is literally 90% of people that try a free week say, oh shit, that's real cool. I want to be part of that. All right, editor, let's get to the drawing. Let's hope the editor is not dead today. Editor, as of right now, we are going to draw 2 names to build a $1,000,000 ticket with me. If we get to 150 likes, we will do a 3rd ticket. So let's keep those likes flowing. We got 183 people in here. I see no reason to not be. Hey, look at Tweezy. Let's go. Tweezy's our first winner. I see no reason we can't get to 150 likes. Tweezy, David Wood, you're our 2 winners. Reach out to me on Twitter or the Discord if you're already over there. We will build a lineup for the game tonight. We will go chase that $1 million together. I'd love to PayPal you $500,000. Guys, I see us up to 125 likes. Go drop one. Get us up to 25 while I answer, or 25 more likes while I answer these questions, and then we will do a 3rd drawing. In the meantime, I'm gonna start answering these questions. If you ever want to be in the drawing, simply you can go like and retweet my NFL show that we're gonna put out Friday nights, or you just simply be here in the chat, ask a question. Limit of 2. If you ask more than 2, your ass is banned for life. You think Watson has a big day? Look, I think Deshaun Watson is a great play tonight. I think Deshaun Watson makes a lot of sense. But here's what I would say, Mac. I live that contrarian lifestyle, and I don't know that I am so sure that he's going to have a big game to justify the ownership. That's what I would say. If you play the game, I think you can be okay that Deshaun Watson is likely to have a good game, but then also I'm not going to play him. I do that shit all the time, right? Like I just did it at PGA. I knew Max Omo was going to be good, but I know how to play the game enough to know that I'm not going to play him because there's enough of a chance that I could block out a huge part of the field if he doesn't. All right, looking for questions. Is there an edge to a certain contest type tonight? Seems like a good contest all around. I don't know if any contest quorum are particularly an advantage, but what I can tell you is that there is a chance to play late swap, and nobody is going to be late swapping their lineups. So I would build your lineup, especially if you're doing a single entry quorum, build a lineup and have a contingency plan, right? All right, if this happens in the first game and these guys hit for me, well, then I'm going to go with this in the second game. If shit doesn't go well in the first game or this chalk piece gets there that I faded, here's what I'm going to switch to in the late game. Take advantage of that late swap, right? And it's almost like you're building two different lineups, but you're just playing one slate. I love 2-game slates because they let us use late swap. And late swap, let's face it, is a lot easier when you only got to do it for 2 games and one lineup, right? All right, Nick says, what's for lunch? I think I'm going to have a smoothie, and then I'm going to go play some golf, Nick. What's good? DM Brian? All right. Wait, Jimmy Graham still plays football? Not that I know of, pal. Not that I know of. The editor lives, barely. He's on life support. Very sad. Hey, 132 likes. New guys, go smash that like. Get us to 150. I want to build 3 lineups tonight. All I want is Browns and the Saints, but we said, what's up? I want to see the big guys stop. Most of the time I like them. Oh, you're doing it. Okay, so 4-2. So, Tweezy, I'm telling you, this is a good night to go play the main slate, the 2-game slate, and don't just do the single game. I guess if you want to do the single game, I think that the play is to probably go 4-2 Steelers would be my contrarian play. Did anyone wake up? Did anyone wake up the editor? No, he actually died. We had to revive him. Very sad story. Just got back from Vegas and got destroyed by the house. Can you help me win it back? We're going to see what we can do, BMAC, but I will tell you this. Go into every single GPP slate assuming you're going to lose, right? When you go in with expectations that you're going to win, it takes the wind out of your sails, and it makes you feel like you're going to lose. When you play a GPP about 97% of the time, on the main slate especially, on the main contest, you are going to lose. So remember that. The key is when you win, make sure you win. Is the editor position open? It is not. It is not. It would have been if he died. I don't know. Is the editor alive? Wow. A lot of shots at the editor today. Damn. Editor just fucking catching strays. Thank you. And 20 max, would you be able to completely fade Chubb with his ownership? Well, sure you can fade him, right? You just got to ask yourself, like, are you fading him just to fade him? Maybe the answer is you just come in underweight, because I think Chubb will legit be 70 to 80% owned tonight. He's just going to be like a free square for people. And anytime a guy's 80% owned, I think that especially a running back, there's always a chance he gets banged up. He gets maybe he fumbles and gets pulled out of the game. Maybe Cleveland gets in a bad game script, or maybe the Steelers just commit to stopping the run, right? These are all viable paths. And if you want to do that, I think that you're going to have some mega leverage if you do that. But just know that there's a good chance your ass is going to go down in flames when you do that, right? Because there's a very good chance Nick Chubb is going to have a good game tonight. He is fucking incredible. How many tight ends is too many tight ends? I do not mind 2 tight ends tonight, and I'm never a guy that plays a tight end in the flex. But tonight, I think that is one of the best ways you can be different, Wombat. What is the best strategy in a small 2-game slate to implement, to have a game plan? Don't just build your lineup and then enter it and then go to bed tonight. Enter your lineup, watch the first game, be tracking how your guys are doing, be tracking how the guys you didn't play are doing, and then have a late swap plan in place and say, well, I have Deshaun Watson, but if this game goes ugly in the first one, I'm switching to Kenny Pickett, right? Have that game plan in place, right? Or you have Elijah Moore in your flex. Well, then I'm going to go put in Jaylen Warren or something like that, right? Have a backup plan to get a little bit different in the second game if things aren't going well, and have a plan to have some chalky plays in there if things are going well. You see what I'm talking about there? Because you can have so many people boxed out just by doing that. Who do you think has a better night, Carr or Watson? Most likely to get that's a good question. I think Carr's more likely to get 300 yards, but I bet Watson's probably more likely to outscore him on fantasy points just because of the rushing upside, and he doesn't have Taysom Hill, who could always vulture a touchdown or 12. Hey there, first time watching live. Hey, Jay Bailey, thanks for being here, you mother father. Which do you think would be better, Pickens or Freiermuth? God, I actually really like them both. But I would tell you this. I think Cleveland's going to blitz the shit out of Pickett tonight. So if you made me choose, I would take Freiermuth. The problem with Pickens is he only gets big down the field targets, and I don't know that the Steelers are going to be having a lot of time or wanting to be taking a lot of chances down the field. I think Freiermuth is going to get something in the order of 6 to 8 targets underneath tonight. And at tight ends, the good thing about them is their targets usually convert to catches. So if he has something like 5 to 7 catches, it would not surprise me. And at the tight end position, 5 to 7 catches for 50 yards, hopefully falls in the box. Now he is a nut type play, right? Let's see. On the solver, do you use uniques in the 20 max? Do you use uniques in the 20 max? Yeah, I try to. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. If Cooper is out, you think DPJ gets the lost ownership bump? No, I think. Well, yes, he will definitely get some, but I think the vast majority of it will go to Elijah Moore. Right? Everybody just assumes the number 2 becomes the number 1. I'm more interested in those guys becoming the number 3 and number 4 guy, becoming the number 2 and number 3 guy. That's why I like a DPJ and a Marquise Goodwin getting a little bit of a bump there. Do you think Showdown on FanDuel is negative EV? I just hate the 5-person builds. You basically it just doesn't give you enough freedom to be different. That's what I fucking hate about FanDuel's Showdown contest. Having that 6th guy in there lets you get so much different. Love the NFL stone. Let's go, Tweezy. That's why you won. I'm Ron Burgundy. That's right, pal. All right, should we optimize all 4 defenses? I mean, look, I think the defenses tonight are a good way to tell a story. If I am running, if I'm running the Browns defense, I really like Jaylen Warren, right? Because that's a correlation that probably the Browns have gotten up, they're doing well, and there's going to be more drop-offs to Jaylen Warren. If I'm going to run the Browns defense, I don't hate going with Ford or Chubb, right? I think both of them are viable. If I'm running the Panthers defense, I honestly don't mind running Derek Carr against that, right? Derek Carr throws a pick 6 early, and now he's having to play from behind, so I run Derek Carr, Olave, and Juwan Johnson against the Panthers defense. I think that makes sense tonight, because if he gets that, maybe a sack, a fumble taken to the house, Panthers get 9 points, and now the Saints are in a script where they now have to pass. I think that's a script that makes sense. What I don't like is playing the Panthers defense against the Jamal Williams. I don't think that makes any sense. Playing the Steelers defense against Nick Chubb. I don't think that makes any sense. Okay, but playing the Steelers defense against a Deshaun Watson, I could see that getting there. Editor, we're only 3 likes away from 150. Once it gets there, because we are certainly going to get there, we will do another one. Matter of fact, we'll even do a 4th one if we get to 175. If we get to 175 likes, we will do a 4th one. We're going to do a 3rd one at 150, 175 likes. We will do a 4th one because you want to know a little something new, guy? I'm not a fucking poor, and I like building lineups with you guys. And for whatever reason, you like building them with me. Michael, I don't know how to say that name. I'm sorry. Do you feel total ownership you should shoot for this week for a lineup? I mean, it's going to be crazy. On a 2-game slate, I would imagine anything under probably 300% is going to be pretty solid, right? Is a defense/kicker kind of showdown night? Yeah, I looking at these totals, Romy, but I also got to think to myself, you're not going to be the only one that thinks of that. Editor, I see 152. Go drop a drawing for me. It's going to be a good night. Definitely. Okay, Valhalla. Have you liked and subscribed? Yeah, and turn on the notifications. You get them, Valhalla. I might be a poor, but not after tonight. When I win this contest, then take this slate down with you. Nathan, there you go. I like how your mind thinks, Bro Cephas. We're the poor folk. It's okay. It's all right. Hey, I love the poors, all right? My mom's a poor. It has nothing to do with how much money you have. It just has to do with your state of mind. You could choose not to be a poor. Caddy is our winner. That's our 3rd winner. Get me up to 175 likes. We will do one more, you motherfathers. 175 likes. We'll do one more. And it looks like I still got a lot of questions to answer. Delbert says, do you see a scenario where Carolina just spreads the ball out to all 4 receivers? I do. I think that in that case, you probably just want to play Bryce Young with one of his pass catchers and just hope that you get the one that falls in the box. What's the highest number of guys you want on one team on a 4-game slate? I would cap it probably at 3. But I guess you could do 4 if you want to count like a defense, right? Will Chubb be the one to open tonight? And how much higher is the ceiling catching the ball out of the backfield? Will Chubb be? Will the Chubb Club be open tonight? Yeah, I mean Nick Chubb seems as safe as a play could possibly be. But anytime a guy's 70 or 80% owned, I'm always warm to fading them, especially when it's a running back. I'll just keep saying that. How crazy is it would it be to fade Chubb? I mean, if you're playing to win, I think that's very viable. Caddy's already blowing me up over on the fucking Discord. Look at that guy. Does the Opto really have Panthers wide receivers? Does the Opto really have Panther wide receivers? Yeah, it does. The optimizer doesn't like them very much. I think combined they were like 7% or something like that. Browns defense a lock tonight? I think that's going to be the narrative, Apollo, but I also don't want to overreact. I'm not ready to sell on Kenny Pickett as a lost bum tonight. Will there be a showdown Rosetta Stone? Mike, Matt, I think you can just use the 2 games one we put out, and it could do it for you. It has all the same information, right? And we just do it for the main slates, right? That's what we're doing. So let's see. Editor, you probably could go upload those. Maybe, hey, editor, maybe see if Mark and the team want to put in some ownership, and we could go put in a separate ownership for tonight. You probably have to ask Monday too. We'll see what we can do for you, Matt. Is Harrison Bryant on the solver? Yeah, if he's not, he should be. I think we nerfed his projections. No, I think we bumped them, but he needs to get on there. Editor, go double check that Harrison Bryant's on there for me. By the way, 156 likes, almost to 175. Completely fade one of the 4 teams. I don't. I mean, you could if you think one of them's going to be hopeless, right? If you buy the blowout narrative in one of the games, I think you could get there. Do you like to overstack one game or 2 game slates? I will probably have something like 6 guys from one game and 3 from the other, right? I think that I like to lean one game over the other. That's typically what I do. With QB1 injuries, do you like to play it safe with wide receiver 2s? With QB1 injuries, do you like to play it safe with the wide receiver 2s and take the risk and try to predict who will get the snaps? Yes, as long as they correlate to the quarterback, I'm open to that. Tight end in the flex tonight, big guy. Nice. I don't hate it, Bob. I don't hate it. Okay. Does pace mean more for 2 gamers? Yeah, but all 4 of these teams are notoriously slow, so I wouldn't read too much into that on this slate, Leo. Is having 3 Browns and the Steelers D in the lineup counterproductive? No. If it is like Deshaun Watson, DPJ, and Njoku, I think that you could run that against the Steelers defense. As I said, the Steelers defense gets 5 sacks. Maybe one of them is a fumble and a recovery to the house. They get you 13 points, and Cleveland is likely playing in a game script where Chubb is now being used less, and Cleveland's passing game is being used more, right? Let's see. Getting caught up. All right. Do you change the type of contest you play in a 2-game slate versus full slate? No, I still like the $100 single entry, the $50 single entry, and the $15. There's just not enough guys that I want to put in my lineup tonight. I'm basically going to have one version of my lineup and then just slightly tweak it for all 3. Essentially the same thing I do in a 1-game slate because I'm really just running with my narratives, and I don't need a lot of different versions of that narrative. 157 likes. You think these low totals, all defenses are playable? Absolutely. All defenses are always playable because NFL defenses is like the most random thing ever. You better hurry up and smash that like button. 196 of you. Need 17 more. We're almost out of questions. I'll give you about 4 more minutes. Are the Browns and the double run back a good idea with Chubbs and Njoku? Is the Browns double run back a good idea? Yeah, I don't hate that. It's going to be very, very chalky. I mean, I guess if you were stacking the Steelers and you run it back with Chubb and Njoku, that's probably different because I don't think a lot of people are going to go Kenny Pickett in 2 of his pass catchers. I don't think that will be a very common build, Mr. Pentrini. Is it viable to use all the salary on Watson and Chubb? I mean, you're going to end up with a build that's going to be probably copied by, I'm not kidding, at least 10% of the field. What stack are you going heaviest on? I don't answer questions like that. Is there some steam to the narrative outside of the dome that the Saints just aren't as good outdoors? Yeah, I mean, that could be a thing, Steven. I've never heard that, and I definitely have never seen data to back that up. But I think a 70-degree weather in Charlotte is going to be just fine. Concerns with Kendre Miller potentially being out. If he's out, it makes me like Jamal Williams more, as I think that it's going to certainly guarantee him 20 touches. So if I get word Kendre's out, I think that really makes me want to get Jamal Williams back. I don't think he'll be that inefficient 2 weeks in a row, and he will be getting goal line carries. But you do have to worry that Taysom Hill steals them. Look at that, 200 people in here. Let's go. Don't forget to be here tomorrow, guys, at noon, as me and Tambo are going to break down the slate, right? Couple more questions. I'll buy you guys 2 more minutes to get me up to 175 likes. Are you checking the game totals, over-unders to get a game script? Absolutely, Aaron. That's why I have the team totals on here. That's why I have the pace. I think that's the best indicator of how to come up with a narrative is looking at the Vegas totals because let's face it, Vegas be real smart at this shit. Jaylen Warren, top running back on the slate. I think he's the top sneaky running back on the slate. I would not say he is the top one. Let's see. Vegas is often wrong early in the season. Don't build based off that. All right, Tolga says fuck Vegas. All right, well, go with your gut then, pal. Jason, nice name. The start times are only 50 minutes apart. Do you really think, oh, shit, are they really? I just assumed that one game was early, one game was late. I didn't know that, Jason. Thank you for telling me that. I guess I have the times. Actually, they haven't put the times. Wait, this is the wrong fucking stone, you dipshit. Yeah, you're right. Fuck, Jason, great call. You're a great. Hey, Jason, I just assumed that the games would be at 6 and 9. So great point. Great point. I don't think you're going to be able to do a lot of late swap. That's a great point, Jason. Fucking, that's a great point. I don't know this Jason Lustbader guy, but he's on top of it. Respect, brother. You said 2 tight ends is a rarity, but should you choose tonight, would it make you think different? Yeah, tonight is a night I'm leaning towards playing 2 tight ends. I like the tight ends a lot tonight, and it's a way for me to get different without having to be just completely off the wall. What up, Tiffany? Ladies in the house. So I thought I'd let you know I'm getting my husband the Rosetta Stone next week. Can't wait. Happy surprise. Let's go. Look at that. What a wife. That guy married up. That guy married well. Another lady, 2 ladies in a row. What up, my girl? Hurst a good play tonight. I think Hurst is probably the safest play of all the Panthers pass catchers. But the one thing I could say about Hurst, the only thing that makes me not like him is I kind of love all the tight ends, right? So if I think that he's going to be the chalkiest, it would make me a little less interested. But I don't think that any of these tight ends are going to be overly chalky because there's so many good options at tight end. That's why I'm so warm to playing 2 of them, my girl. Who's the kick in the nuts play tonight? Well, I mean, if you want to be kicked in the nuts, just go play a chalk bomb like Deshaun Watson, right? He'll either break the slate or screw you. 165 likes. You guys only got a couple more questions. Can I not be a poor too? Absolutely, Apollo. Just wake up and say, hey, how can I not be a poor today? It has nothing to do with the amount of money you have. Some of the poorest people I know are not poors. Calvin Austin III at captain, just too slim. I mean, look, if he gets 10 targets and he gets 9 catches for 75 yards and falls in the box, it won't be. But, man, that's a very, very specific script. Does it make sense to have Browns and Steelers and the flex with a kicker? Yeah. Wait, kicker. You guys you're talking a single game, man. You guys, why is nobody playing the 2-game slate? You guys all love that single game slate shit, huh? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's very specific, Walter. But I guess I could get there. Matthew Learn, how do you mentally stay in the game after multiple weeks in a row of being a deposit whore? Yeah, so this is a common thing, and I think the best thing you could do is you need to change your expectations. You need to understand, like, I felt like yesterday, if you go watch my retrospective on the Discord, I thought that I had a really good pulse on the Sunday NFL slate. I had all of the guys that I played the most did well. I just didn't have that perfect lineup, and when you don't have a perfect lineup at GPPs, you're only playing for 99.9 percentile lineups. I had lots of lineups yesterday that were in the 92 percentile, the 95 percentile. Problem is with those, when you're playing GPPs, you go and lose. So you can be building really good lineups, having really good player pool, but if you don't have that magical lineup, you're still going to lose. So I don't think it's a matter of process. I think it's a matter of expectations. And you need to fix that in your mind and realize that if you're lucky, you will have one smash week a year. The key is to just let those be flesh wounds, right? Just keep trying to take flesh wounds. Get 50% of your money back, right? On those weeks where you thought you had a good pull, and then eventually you can hit that 1 week that does it all. Another thing you could do is just play a little bit less money. If you're uncomfortable with how much you're losing in a given week, play amount, say, here's $100 that I'm going to play this week, and I'm going to play it in good contest, and if I lose it all, that's okay because I'm comfortable being with it. 168 likes. Oh, shit. That's 14 times 12. I got to be am I the only person that sees 168 and thinks that? Is late swap viable really? Yeah, great point. You guys got me on that one. I just assumed that the games would be stacked. I don't know why they're running the games against each other. I guess they're both East Coast games, but that just seems like poor planning. All right. Kendre Miller is out. There you go. It appears as though Kendre is out tonight. If Kendre is out, I think that makes Jamal Williams very, very safe to get 20 touches. Very, very, very safe to get 20 touches. Give Jason the next ticket with his comments. Why all the fucking caps? Give Jason a lineup with that No, I'm not. I mean, let's see. If we look, I'm going to give 1 more minute to get to 175 likes. If we don't, I will give it to Jason for being the first one to point that out. For those who haven't hit the like button yet, why do you hate fun? A valid question by Bill. Bill comes in hard with the valid questions. Single game showdown is the nuts. Yeah, I just really like a little 2-game slate. It gives me, although now that I realize there's no late game, or now that there's not really much time to do much late swap, that's been a real kick in the dick. Can Harris and Warren get there? Yeah, probably not together. I just don't think so, right? I'm open to playing 2 running backs on the same team tonight, but it probably ain't the Steelers, bruh. Probably ain't the Steelers. Probably be old Ford and Cadillac. Minimum salary for captain spot. Minimum salary. Well, look, I think the best thing you could do at captain is just don't play Olave or Chubb there, and that will have you vastly different than everybody else. Happy Monday. All right. That's it. We didn't get to 175 likes. Editor, that guy that asked the good fucking question or made the good point, whoever that was, I'm sorry, I already forgot. The guy that pointed out that the slate is only 2. Jarrett. Wait, maybe it wasn't Jarrett. Who the fuck was it? You know who you were. The guy that said that the games are basically at the same time. You can't do late swap. You got me. You're paying attention. I like motherfuckers who come here and pay attention. It was Jason. There you go. Jason, you reach out to me. I'll build a ticket with you because I'm not a fucking poor. And when you come in here with good questions, I will reward you. We have 4 winners. All right. There you go. And he's already messaged me in the Discord. Oh, if he's on the Discord, he definitely gets a ticket because you're part of my community. I take care of you. Me and the editor value every single one of you. Be here tomorrow at noon as me and Tambo go over the Week 3 slate. Enjoy tonight. For all of you that want to come check out the site, don't forget to just sign up for the newsletter. Let the editor know. We will give you a free week, and you get the entire colored up stone and my pregame lock stream. Everything you need to know to get you ready tonight. It has been real, everybody. Thank 204 of you for being here. You sweaty tryhards. I will talk to you later. Enjoy this outro.